Hey everybody, it's Tuesday.
And welcome to this week's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And thanks for being here with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We have had actually some really drastic temperature or drops in temperature recently. We have been talking, the whole summer about how it's warm. And let me tell you what, now it's cold. And that was that. And it happened about that fast.
Yeah.
Our water temperatures are actually reflecting that pretty well. We were in the river this past Sunday, and we are right around 45 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, we were getting pretty consistent 10-degree drops per week there for a little bit, and then kind of stalled out. And I'm guessing when we go back, we'll probably be in the upper 30s. This coming weekend might be time to put the boat away.
But that is an interesting point, is that we do have a whole nother boat weekend left.
Mm-hmm.
And the other interesting thing is, actually a bunch of kind of interesting things here. Then we have show season. Shows and expos kick off right after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking actually in my photos, and I had a memory pop up, and we were actually on the river this time last year, but I have a video of our boat was cracking through skim ice. So that had actually been obviously our last weekend. So we are getting one more water time out on the water this year.
Well, I mean, we'll see. You never know what Wisconsin wants to do. It might be 70 degrees on Thanksgiving, and we'll put the boat in again. But that's the pleasure of being able to winterize the E-Tech with the key.
Yep. Turn it back on if you need it and ready to go. I guess I'm looking forward to that. But conditions vary out there. People who are south, some of you are having even some decent, still pretty warm water conditions for fall. The bite has been on. So tell us about that. Let us know where you're watching from. If you are up north, let us know how cold it is up there, because I've seen some pretty frosty mornings. And if you are watching from one of those few locations that I've seen people are already ice fishing from, definitely let us know that, because I want to hear that report. I am excited for ice, and so is everyone else.
Yep.
Cool. So with that, also, I guess, let us know if you have questions or comments or different things along the way, because we would love to wrap that up into our conversation.
Yes.
But with that, let's bring in the show Joel. Welcome.
Hey, Joel.
Thank you. Yay. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So the first question that we always ask is, for somebody who has maybe never met you before, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah. So I originally from Wisconsin, grew up in a small town, Rice Lake, up in northwest Wisconsin. And, I've always hunted and fished. It's always kind of been my passion since I was a little kid, and fished through high school. We didn't have high school fishing team when I was going into high school. So I fun fished a few, small tournaments back home, and kind of got the itch there, and got out of high school. I actually joined the military, did 9 years in the military, and kind of put a kibosh on the fishing, while I was in the military. But once I got out of the military, came back, started fishing a little bit more. Actually moved down to Madison, Wisconsin, and started fishing the Madison chain and fishing some tournaments, and just really fueled my passion for tournament bass fishing. And ended up actually moving up to Minnesota after that, and got some met some people up here, and got some great opportunities to start fishing as a co-angler on the Bassmaster Opens and the FLW Tour, and that kind of got me to where I'm at today, fishing the Bassmaster Opens, trying to qualify for the Elite Series, and also fishing the National Professional Fishing League. So
I'm going to jump way far back to the beginning there, because one of the things that you said is that you never had the opportunity for a high school fishing team. And I think that is something that so many people can relate to, because I see so many awesome things happening online these days, and so many youth getting involved. But that's something that I think many people can relate to your story is, not having those opportunities and maybe needing to seek that out. Having, you love fishing and, find a way. But, sometimes life brings you kind of away from it. And so that is so cool to hear that you were able to, take that time and come all the way back and be able to do what you're doing today. Because I think, honestly, a lot of people look at that as something that might not be possible.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, I was, once I got out of the military, I did a few years in college, and, it just really wasn't for me. I started working, I was doing construction, and when I moved up to Minnesota, I was working for a management company for commercial properties. And, it's just, I enjoyed what I did, but I would wake up every morning and I was just, I didn't want to go to work. I was just, it was one of those things. And I was like, with the opportunities that I got to go fish, and I was like, every time I go fishing or the night before I go fish a tournament, I'm always just giddy. I have a hard time sleeping. I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I just want to fish, and my competitive nature and, everything else. It's just, it's really, you hear it all the time. It's a dream job, and it truly is, and to be able to come out here and pursue it, it's so awesome. So, people ask me all the time, like, how do you do this, or how do you get into it? And, just, if that's what you want to do, just pursue your dreams and go do whatever it takes to get to where you want to be.
Just that easy. No.
Yeah, it sounds a lot easier than what it is. And like I said, I started out as a coangler fishing, and I had a really a good learning curve. I fished with a bunch of good people. I actually won some events on the national side as a coangler. So I actually won a boat on a Bassmaster Open, which got me my first bass boat. And then I won a couple more events on the FLW side, which allowed me to get a truck and a camper. So I was kind of set up, and then that qualified me for the FLW tour as a boater. So, it's just kind of, there was little steps, and had some very fortunate times through there that definitely helped me get to where I'm at. So.
That's actually really cool to be able to cross all those hurdles and, like, I guess, achieve all of that. That's really exciting. And actually, I guess before I get to what I was going to say, here's a really great question that Anthony's asking that fits right in. So how does one start becoming a coangler?
So with the Bassmaster Opens, I started out as Bassmaster Opens, and you can actually just sign up. There's 9 Bassmaster Opens throughout the year, and it's such a great opportunity because you got so many pros, professional fishermen, from around the country. You got locals fishing these lakes. So there's 3 divisions, there's 3 tournaments in each division, and you can actually just go on Bassmaster.com and sign up as a coangler for one event or all the events. And it's the entry fees are pretty low for the knowledge that you're able to gain and who you get to fish with. There's a lot of Elite Series guys that fish it, and there's some of the best in the world that are fishing that to qualify for the Elite. So to be able to just jump in the boat, you get 2 days as a coangler. You get to jump in the boat, you get to fish against the other coanglers. And, it's the amount of knowledge that you gain and how everybody does things a little bit different on the water. It's just, it all adds up and helps you, throughout your career for sure.
Yeah. So after getting through all of those hurdles, for me, one of the hardest things is still yet to come, learning to fish all the diverse bodies of water that are out there, because everybody is like an expert on their home lake. Everybody can go out and catch fish, in that spot when they can hand choose it. But that's the thing, is when you are fishing these different tournament circuits, you're in different places often that you've never stepped foot on before. So how do you navigate something like that?
That's really the hardest thing. It comes with time, and these days, you can grab your cell phone and there's so many things at the, at your fingers. You can type anything into Google and kind of get the answer. As far as fishing goes, you can do a lot of research online, which I do. I spend a ton of time online looking at different lakes, looking at Google Earth, looking at past tournament results. Reading articles of, kind of where they caught them or what parts of the lake are better than the others, or a bigger population of fish are in certain parts of the lakes. A lot of these, these lakes and reservoirs and everything else that we're going to are 100,000 plus acres. So with a few days of practice, it's hard to break everything down. So, being able to look online and do your research before you even get to the lake. A lot of times when I go to a brand new lake that I don't know, I'm already going there, having an idea in my head where I'm going to go look, and from there you just kind of start putting the piece of the puzzle together with your electronics and everything else.
Yeah, that does make me laugh though, because Josh and I maybe a month ago went to Mille Lacs Lake and we had never fished it. And so, we reached out to the different social media networks, like what it had to say, texted a few friends that are up in the area, and we were like super prepared, thought that we had it all figured out, had these different plans. And it just turns out like every color plastic that we were prepared for is what we use totally different everything, so it is so funny to do so much research, but sometimes it's even different than that.
And I mean, sometimes it hurts you too. You get something into your head and you go waste a bunch of time trying to do it, and it's not really the deal, whether conditions are different or the lake's turning over or whatever. There's just so many different variables. But I do that a lot. I actually, when I go to lakes, I think I know what they're going to bite on before I get there. I put in a big tackle order, and when I get there, it's completely different. I don't use any of that tackle. It seems like it happens more times than not, but just getting yourself as prepared as you can before going to the lakes is the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Josh always tells me it's hard to travel with a girl because I overpack, but it's like when you're a fisherman, it's like it's like all those plastics that you have to have, all the different baits, all the different presentations. It's like amazing at least here I can keep it in my house, but when you are a traveling angler, that's amazing to have to carry it all with you.
Especially when both of us have a duffel bag full of plastics.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely, and I travel with a truck bed camper. So I don't have my whole truck to just pack tons of stuff in. And my girlfriend has traveled with me a bunch this year, probably about 75% of the time. So she's got all her stuff in there too. And it's definitely, I can't bring all my tackle with, but that's good about being able to order online and get overnight delivery. So.
Yeah, actually, that's a really fun thing, to get it delivered to your destination. Then you show up and then there it is. That's actually really cool.
That makes life easy for sure.
Yeah. So, I guess like when you are at a new place, do you have a go-to presentation that you throw out there?
Not really. I always seem to have spinning rods on my deck. It seems like anywhere you go in the country, I can throw a spinning rod out there, a finesse presentation, and I can always catch a fish if I need to. And that's, in tournament bass fishing, getting five keeper bites a day, getting a limit each day, is not easy, but if you can go do that every day of tournament, you're going to have success and you're going to, it's going to pay off. So I always have a drop shot, something like that, a finesse presentation. Not that I necessarily love to do it, but at the end of the day, it's my job. If I don't catch them, I don't get a paycheck, and I'm going to do what I got to do to catch fish and weigh them in. So.
Well, don't say drop shot like it's a bad thing.
I love the drop shot. Shoot, I caught some of my biggest fishes here on a drop shot, and it's one of those techniques that I always I go to, and I got confidence in. I just anywhere you go in the country, you can catch fish on it. So.
Yeah, that's true. So talking about visiting new places, Anthony is asking, when you go to new bodies of water, do you stop at the local bait shops?
I do. I always I'm a sucker for bait shops. There's so many cool ones, and you meet so many cool people in there. But yeah, I'm always going to bait shops. I love going to look at stuff, and I'm always buying tackle. It's an addiction. It's always, there's nothing worse than going to a lake and not having something that you want or need, and it's always in the back of your head like, gosh, I wish I just had it. So I'm always going to bait shops, and yeah, I definitely love it. It's
one of my favorite things about going to different bait and tackle shops and, when you're traveling is seeing some places have different tactics, and it's so obvious, like based on what's available, or all of a sudden, like the colors really stand out to you. There's a lot that you can learn before you even ask a question. So, man, it's interesting. Once in a while you pick up a whole new technique.
Yeah. And if you go to bait shops and you see you going down the rack and there's one that's almost empty, that's probably the one working for that lake. It's a little trick. If the racks are all completely full and they didn't just get an order in that morning, you should probably look at the the racks that are most empty. That's usually what they're biting on the best. So that's my own little secret. I don't usually share that with very many people.
I'm always the person that gets there and it's like the whole thing is stacked full except for the little holes that are entirely empty, and it's like, dang, those were it. You must have gotten there just before me and picked up those last few.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. One of the other things that's actually really interesting that we had started talking about, I guess right before the show, is so many of us right now are talking about coming up to ice season. But you actually have your open water season that starts, did you say in January?
Yeah, January. We actually just signed up for all 9 Bassmaster Opens this morning. So we usually middle to end of January, we're heading down to Florida, and that's kind of the start of our season. And my off season, I mean, I just got back home. Last year we actually fished tournaments all the way into December with the whole COVID thing, and it was a real quick turnaround. But my off season, I mean, I like ice fishing. I grew up ice fishing and enjoy it, but this is my off season right now for the open water side, and I get a new boat every year, so I still got my boat from this year. I gotta get all my get the wrap off and get it prepared to sell, and then my new boat's actually sitting at the dealer right now, so I got to go pick that up, and I go get all my electronics rigged, and I rig all my own electronics, so that it takes some time, and and then getting the wrap done, and working on just stuff for off season, with new contracts and that kind of stuff. So I definitely stay busy in the off season. It seems like the off season is actually almost busier than when I'm actually just out fishing. So it's we usually get a month or two, and then on top of I'm actually going to Mille Lacs in the morning. I got a photo shoot up there next couple of days with Shimano and G. Loomis. So we're going to be up at Mille Lacs, and then I got talked into deer hunting this weekend up there with one of my other buddies. So I guess I'm going deer hunting up there this weekend, and then next week I got a business meeting down at Table Rock Lake in Missouri. So I'm going to come back from Mille Lacs, throw everything out of the truck, and repack it, and go down to Missouri for the week. So yeah, it's definitely a busy time of the year for me in the off season. So
yeah, that doesn't sound like off season at all.
I actually kind of dread it. I mean, I love just being able to travel around the country and just go from tournament to tournament and fish, and then you get up here and then the work really begins. The work that I don't necessarily want to do, but it's all part of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But meanwhile, you are fishing through it, so that's the best part. So when you show up on Mille Lacs tomorrow, I guess what's the first thing that you're throwing, or is it top secret?
No, it's not top secret. I mean, it's I got a couple of buddies up there. One of my buddies, or a couple of my buddies that I'm going up there with, live up there, but they guide up there, so they know what's going on. I actually ran into the boat today and tied up. I'm gonna throw a football jig. I like to throw big baits this time of year. They're putting on their feed bags. They're trying to get that one big meal for the day. So I'm gonna throw big baits. I got a big swim bait tied on and a football jig. And if I have to, if they're being stubborn, I'll throw a Ned rig or a drop shot to catch a few, but scratch the itch. But I'm gonna try to throw a big swim bait and a football jig and that kind of stuff and get some big bites.
That's going to be awesome. I am really super jealous. I'm going to be thinking about you, actually.
I'm super excited. It's going to be cold, but it's we got the right gear for it, so we'll be all good.
So that's actually a really interesting question. Do you choose to go to ice gear this time of the season, or are you still wearing rain gear?
I'm gonna wear rain gear. I got the insulated Denali suit all ready to go for tomorrow. So I'll wear some stuff underneath it, but that insulated Denali suit, it's honestly, man, I love that suit. It's warm, it's comfortable, it's dry, and it's lightweight, and it's perfect for what I'm doing. But I do have the ice gear, and if it gets any colder than what it's going to be in the next week or two, I'll definitely be putting that on. So
Yeah, that's for sure. I gotta love that rain gear because it is just so waterproof. Like when you are out on the lake, any kind of splashing or raining or whatever is going on, that is perfect. I gotta say, all of that ice gear is super waterproof, but it is made for ice. So it is kind of an interesting time of the season. So to have that insulated Denali suit is really excellent. And I gotta say, honestly, I'm a little bit jealous. It's one of the suits I have not worn.
Oh,
So I always choose between my Evolve suit, which is really a summer suit, and then ice gear. So that's always kind of funny.
sure.
The other thing that was really interesting, kind of switching gears here, but to something a lot of people actually can relate to is setting up your own boat. So that can be actually a really daunting task. So, I mean, I guess really super vague question, but do you have any tips or how do you go about doing that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got a partnership with Humminbird and Minn Kota. So I'm running all Humminbirds, and when I get my boat at my dealer, there's nothing on it. It's just the boat and the motor, and then I take it and I say that I do it all myself. I don't. I got a buddy over in Wisconsin. He owns a company called ProSize Outdoors, and he does a lot of electronics rigging, and he has electronics mounts and that kind of stuff. So we pull it into his shop, and he does the bulk of it, or at least he tells me what to do. And I'm learning every year. But I'm not, I don't know which wire goes to where. I know red goes to, positive and black goes to negative, but that's about it. But, I kind of, I spend so much time on my boat. I mean, I'm probably on the water 300 days a year. So I know exactly kind of how I want everything set up, as far as my electronics. And, these days with electronics and trying to compete against these guys, you can't be at a disadvantage. So this year I'm running 5 Humminbird Helix 12s on my boat, and so we're gonna, it seems like a lot, but I'm gonna run three 12s up front, and I know exactly, just being in the boat and knowing exactly how everything lays out or how it works for me. When I'm on the water, it's easier for me just to be there and kind of show him or help him set everything up. So it's a daunting task. I mean, we're running all our own wires and we're crawling in the rod lockers. And, the biggest thing is that when I'm on the water and fishing these tournaments, if something goes wrong, I want to know how everything's set up and where the wires are going. And so I'm able to fix it myself if I have to, so that's one big thing why I like to be hands-on and do it myself.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to because, on one hand, if you have somebody who can do the install for you, yeah, that's great. But to be able to be there for it and, set it up just the way that you want it. There is so many little details that, even when you tell a shop like what you want or whatever, there's always little questions. Oh, you could do it this way or that way. And to be a part of that whole process, I think is something people really, really want to be a part of. Especially having such a long, well, I guess really a short ice season, but a few months to work on a boat. I think people always assume they can do it, but it is pretty tough. So it is really lucky that you have somebody that is knowledgeable that can assist you with the technical end because honestly, I could not imagine doing that myself.
Yeah, it's I'm slowly learning, but if you said just go rig your own boat, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, no way.
She's definitely a big help. I really appreciate everything.
Yeah, I can fish out of it though. That's awesome. So what is your new boat that you're getting into this next year?
So I'm running a Phoenix. So I've ran a bunch of different Phoenixes. I've ran 3 different Phoenixes, and it seems like every year I kind of go to a new model for whatever reason. I don't really know why. I don't know. But I'm running the 21 PHX, so it's a 21.5 foot boat. It's kind of a deeper hull on it, and it's better for bigger water. But it'll still obviously go shallow water. So super excited. I've never ran one, but everybody I've talked to, all my buddies that run them, are like, you have to get this model boat. So I'm going to the 21 PHX from Phoenix this year. So super excited.
Cool. That's awesome. I think there's a lot of people who might be pretty envious because I think it's still pretty tough to come along. New boats. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I put my order in for this boat early in the year. I was actually with the quick turnaround last year. My boat this year is actually my last year's boat, but we started the season early and we got done late last year. And, all my electronics and stuff weren't quite in by the time I hit the road for Florida. So, I put in my boat order, and I think it's been at my dealer now for maybe a month or more. But it's sitting there, it's waiting for me to get all my electronics, all my stuff I need to do it. So we're in good shape now.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And you're out of Minnesota, did you say?
I am. Yep. I guess technically I live in Prior Lake. Usually when I get on the road, I was actually only home for 2 or 3 weeks this year, total. So I've been on the road traveling, fishing, and I had a jam-packed schedule this year. We fished 9 Bassmaster Opens and 6 of the National Professional Fishing League events. So we had 15 national tournaments, and we were from, Florida to Wisconsin to New York and kind of everywhere in between. So it's definitely my busiest year, and I don't know if I'm going to fill my schedule that much next year. It was there's a lot of overnight drives to the next tournament, and very little sleep and getting on the water. But overall, good year. I was happy and learned a bunch, and definitely don't regret it.
Well, I was asking just because I was going to see if you knew like your local water temps, like your conditions. But if you have not been home, then no, that's not even.
I have no idea. I can get back to you in the morning when I get up to Mille Lacs. Yeah, I have no idea. I would assume they're probably in the mid to upper 40s, maybe low 50s. I guess I don't have any idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just, and the water temps are dropping fast because, these nights especially have gotten super cold. So, I mean, that fires the fish up though. So hopefully that's good for you guys this coming up.
It should be good fishing. I always do really good, and I always look forward to getting up there this time of year right before the lakes freeze up, and fish are definitely biting around. So I'm probably not gonna be able to sleep tonight just thinking about going up there and catching big smallmouth tomorrow.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. So one of the things about Mille Lacs is, it is kind of like a big bowl, and then there's little rock piles around. So are they just all still sitting in rock piles?
Yeah, this time of year, a lot of those fish, they'll actually get on those transitions, the transition lines between the rock and the mud, or the gravel and the mud. And then a lot of times when you get out there, there's bigger boulders that they'll hang around, and they'll eat the crawfish or whatever. But typically we try to, we look at those transitions, the rock to mud or the gravel to mud transitions is usually where they're kind of, schooled up, and you can catch a lot of fish in those areas. So
that can be really exciting, especially on Mille Lacs because they're huge.
Yeah.
This past weekend we were out on the Wolf River, and we actually caught quite a few smallies. And I guess I got to relate to that. What you're saying is they really are on the move. We were finding fish, all pretty mid-channel. So we saw a lot of people casting shallow, and I don't know if I actually saw any of those people catch a bass.
No, not really. And we didn't even catch anything super decent. We were throwing 3.5-inch swim baits, some ripping shads, and we were catching 12-inch smallmouth.
But
maybe 10-inch 10-inch smallmouth. So they're hitting a really big bait for like how big they are. Mm-hmm. And we even saw a couple dudes throwing tandem Alabama rigs.
Actually, that's true. Yeah.
In the shallow, and we didn't see any fish come up out of it.
No.
Yeah, they should be transitioning now deep. I mean, with the water temps cooling off quick, and those real cool nights, they should be transitioning into their wintering holes, or kind of where they're going to winter, and feeding up as much as they can. So it's if you can get into the deeper areas where they're kind of adjacent to where they're going to winter, or where they are wintering, you can find a bunch of fish this time of year. So
that is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was going to ask you what's coming up. We talked about Mille Lacs. What's after that?
So we got Mille Lacs this week. Next week, we're going down to Missouri, Table Rock Lake in Missouri. I'm going to go down there for a week and just get some business meetings, but we're going to go fishing, of course, and have some fun down there. And then after that, I'm going to come back up. I think I'm going to I got a little deer hunting shack over in Wisconsin, just north of where I'm from in Rice Lake. So might go do some deer hunting and hang out with my parents and the family for Thanksgiving. And after that, I guess we're gonna
Do some ice fishing.
I might. I used to ice fish a bunch, and lately, or the last couple of years, I just haven't really had time. But it's kind of funny. I got one of my nephews. He lives over in Wisconsin, kind of a Rice Lake area, and he owns his own landscaping business. Well, obviously he's not landscaping. Once the lakes freeze and the ground freezes, so all he does is ice fish. He just every single day he's out ice fishing. So I kind of wait for him to give me the call and say, hey, I'm really on them, and it's I'll run over there and jump out on the ice and go catch a bunch of them. So I make him do the work, and I just get the reap those benefits. Works. It's kind of perfect.
That's so
awesome.
funny. So when you go ice fishing, what is it that you're targeting?
I mean, we usually target crappies and bluegills. He's actually got a couple small lakes that are way back in the woods, back in the sticks. They don't get pressured a lot, but they got some really big fish in them. So he's always out there, and he's got all the electronics and all that. So it's fun. I mean, I when I can just go out there and not do a lot of work and just catch a bunch of big fish, it's fun. But he's got some areas where you can catch some smallmouth through the ice and some walleyes and that kind of stuff. So we can kind of go for a little bit of everything.
I just always love when I hear bass anglers talk about crappie fishing because, well, I mean, I like crappies, that's for sure. But I always give out Josh's secret. I just think that there's something about taking bass baits and like making a miniature and then crappies eat that. It's like amazing. So, I just see a lot of similarities between them. And these days you're seeing a lot of those bigger bass baits that are being downsized and used for, different panfish of different species. And that's just a really exciting thing, I guess, to see that crossover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've caught a lot of big crappies bass fishing too. I mean, I never really knew before I started traveling down south how many people crappie fish down south, on like Lake Okeechobee in Florida or, Oklahoma. I mean, it's just, there's so many, it seems like there's more people that crappie fish down in the southern part of the States for the big crappies. And I guess maybe you guys knew that, but I didn't realize that how many people actually crappie fish down there. I think it's way more than any other species. And it's cool, but they got big ones down there, and I've caught a lot of big ones, just bass fishing. I think I got a good sized bass, and it's a 15-inch crappie.
Those dang crappies.
Yeah. I look at them every time and say I should put you in the live well and bring you home. But
well, and I mean the funny thing is, we've been doing these shows for about a year now, and the more we talk to people, the more you start finding out there is kind of that culture spread across the United States with panfish and crappies in particular, but places like Arizona and Idaho and Pennsylvania, places that don't necessarily get talked about because you have the Tennessees and the Mississippis and stuff. But all over the country, there's some places where you can get some really, really big panfish.
Yeah, definitely. I think they got the red ear over in is it Arizona? They got the red ear, like
red ear and the shell crackers. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures from some people. I think Lake Havasu maybe it was. Mm-hmm. Catching big ones, like 3-pounders.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I always like catching big fish. So
yeah,
it makes me want to move out there. just go.
Right.
I heard that they rent like houseboats and stuff though. Like that could be in my future.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So what else? I guess anything that I have not asked yet. Is there?
No, I was gonna mention too. We got a YouTube channel. If you guys are interested in taking a look at it, it's called The Sickness Outdoors. And basically, I got a travel partner. He lives down in Kansas. Greg Mansfield, his name is, and he's actually part of the Striker Pro staff. So we document all of our travels, all of our tournaments, and throughout the country, and just you kind of get a behind the scenes of what we're actually doing. We're always camping, so kind of get to see a little bit of that and what the tournament fishing is like, besides just what you get to see on TV, just guys catching them and weighing in big fish on the stage. But we kind of document the whole thing, the good, the bad, the ugly. And so, if anybody's interested in kind of seeing what we're doing and how we're traveling and, where we're at and what we're using. We always document what we're using and show on the camera and that kind of stuff. So we got all of our tournaments vlogged this year for the whole year. So, and we're going to continue to do that next year. And, got some more plans in place that we're going to work on. So if anybody's interested in looking at that, or if you like looking at YouTube, feel free to check it out. It's The Sickness Outdoors. And we have fun doing it, and we'll be able to look back in 30 or 40 years from now and think, what the heck were we actually trying to do,
Yeah.
But
yeah, what a cool perspective you guys have set up, because it's not very often you get to see kind of, some of the off the water or behind the scenes kind of stuff, because people like seeing fish caught, but there's also that really cool aspect of what all goes into it.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Definitely. Yeah, and we always talk about, kind of what our, before the tournament starts, kind of what our plans are. And if you're into tournament fishing and tournament bass fishing, just being able to see those little adjustments of when you go on the water and you think you're going to catch them this way and it's not working out, and you're in the middle of a tournament and you're on a time limit, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And you start spinning out, just being able to see those little adjustments of what we do personally to try to catch them and make a living at doing this. So it's, I'm constantly watching YouTube of other tournament guys that are vlogging it, and just trying to just gain a little bit of knowledge, any little bit of knowledge. I mean, knowledge is power out there. And if I can learn, the more I learn, the better fisherman I'm going to be. So I'm always out there trying to learn.
So I don't know why this made me think of this, but talking about learning, again, maybe not connected, but for people who are thinking about next season already, you are an expert that we can learn from. So a lot of people are planning, we talked about boats and electronics and all of that, but, I guess different gear. So I noticed that you're wearing a shirt that Striker is going to have out next year. So if anyone's watching, that's like a pretty awesome hint. Yeah. But if there are people out there that are planning their Christmas list, what kind of different gear should they be preparing for the boat next year?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you need the rain suits, the Evolve suit and the adrenaline suit. I got both of them in the boat, and, I use them all the time. I mean, we don't get rain delays in fishing. We're fishing through the weather, so you got to always be prepared. This new wave break shirt, man, I got a few of them and I love them. I wear them all the time. They're so comfortable, and the sun gloves. We're in the sun so much out in the water, and it's reflecting off the water and all that. So just being able to protect yourself with, the gloves and the buffs and, a lot of the low tide hoodies and, all that stuff that's on the website. I mean, you can look at the website, you can look at all that, but it's so important to protect yourself. I mean, you might not think about it right now. And I never used to, I never used to think about protecting myself from the sun. And, some of the people that I've talked to in the fishing world that have been doing it for 20 or 30 years are like, you need to protect yourself. I mean, you don't think about it now, but down the road, you're going to look back and say, wow, what did I, there's so many bad things it can do. So just protecting yourself from that, and, getting the proper rain gear. I mean, there's nothing worse than getting a rain suit that isn't going to keep you dry and you're in the boat all day, uncomfortable and wet. I don't know if there's anything worse than that. So.
And one of the best things about putting some of these, different items of sun gear on your Christmas list is that, like, especially the shirts, one of the qualities about the sun gear is that super wicking ability. That's part of what keeps you cool. But that's also part of what makes for a great base layer in winter. So I would not suggest something like an Alpha Burr because you might get a little bit chilly. That's meant to be a summer item. But the rest of these shirts with these wicking abilities are really, really great to honestly put under your ice gear. So break them in and then you have them ready to go for the summer as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. And I guess, before we go really quick, could you remind us how people could give you a follow?
Yeah. So we got Instagram. It's just Joel Willert Fishing. I got a Facebook page, Joel Willert Fishing, as well. And then we, like I said, we have the Sickness Outdoors on YouTube, and we also do have the Sickness Outdoors Instagram page. So if you guys want to check it out, if you guys ever have any questions, just want to chat, fishing, if you're going to a new lake and you want some help trying to break it down, or if I've been there before, I'm more than happy to help anybody out and try to lead them in the right direction to catch some fish, because that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If you're going out fishing, you want to catch them, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
So.
Oh my gosh, awesome. And with that, I guess thanks for being here with us tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. I know we've tried to do this for a while now, and I just, traveling, I just never know. I mean, I kind of know where I'm going to be, but, where we're traveling, I mean, there's so many areas where you just have bad cell service, or just, it's just, there's so many variables, but yeah, no, I'm glad I definitely got to get on tonight and everything worked out, and I'd like to be on again if you guys are willing to have me sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for sure. And to everybody at home, thank you guys for being here as well, because it's always great to have your questions and your thoughts along the way. And so it's really, really awesome to have you here as well. So we will see you on next week's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.
I never